Take Philadelphia in the NFC East. Is that an overreaction?
It's not an overreaction. The Cowboys are good enough. I think it probably won't happen because the Eagles' schedule looks so soft, and I just don't think that they're going to let themselves get caught. They already beat the Cowboys once, but I do believe the Cowboys are a good enough team if the Eagles were to slip a little bit to overtake them in the NFC East.
Okay, so let's talk more about the Cowboys. So we have befriended, and as a show, this is the larger we, have befriended Tad Prescott, who is Dak Prescott's brother, and thus he tweets frequently, and I was following him yesterday. He first tweeted something about expressing frustration that the Cowboys didn't make a deal. He then explained it by saying, let's be clear, I'm not upset the Cowboys didn't land Cooks. For the money, we could have kept Coop. What I'm saying is we should have done something. Every other team in contention for the Super Bowl made a move to better their teams. So there is Tad Prescott voicing what many Cowboy fans, I think, were feeling. I will remind everyone that the Cowboys traded Amari Cooper to Cleveland for a fifth-round pick.
Fifth round.
Fifth round.
Right?
Solid cap space.
Like a special
fair
team
enough.
or something.
But one way or another, I mean, think how differently we might be looking at them right now if Amari Cooper was out there. We certainly wouldn't be talking about them needing another number one receiver. So the question on the screen, Dominique Foxworth, is will the Cowboys regret not making a deal at the deadline?
I think they should. Maybe they should give Tad a seat in the front office. And to be clear, maybe being Dak's brother is kind of cool, but being my cousin is much more impressive to me. So Tad, we need to introduce him as Dominique Foxworth's cousin, not as Dak Prescott's brother from here on out. But I would say that they do need not necessarily a new number one receiver as much as they just need more depth. Like, I think that's something that we take for granted when we go into these NFL playoffs is people are going to get hurt. So even adding another running back would be nice, particularly since this team is so focused on running the ball right now. Adding another pass rusher, adding another corner. Those are things that I think would be just as helpful, if not more helpful, than going after going after a number one receiver. So I think they should have done something. Planning for the future is the reason why you trade away Amari Cooper for a fifth-round pick. It's about cap consideration. You don't win Super Bowls, as the Rams taught us last year, by considering the cap. F them picks, get.
They have a great opportunity to get a player. And I think, listen, we all love The Bachelor, right? And I think, listen, right now, Odell Beckham is The Bachelor. Let's see what team is going to get him, because I think that Odell Beckham could be an opportunity for them to get a player in December that can help them win games to go, with that run game and Zeke and everybody else going on. And, you look at also, they're probably going to be competing with probably the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think Odell Beckham is going to have a lot of options, but he can be the guy that can put him over the top. He's not a guy that you're going to have to pay a lot of money, but he's a guy that can be effective, that can get in your system for about a month. He should be healthy around December, and you'll have an opportunity. So I think everybody's holding on hope that maybe they can get a guy like Odell Beckham that can help change their
Would that do it?
OBJ's not going to do anything right now. He's got two ACLs, coming off of two ACL surgeries.
He on the clock.
Listen, he hurt his ACL in February. He ain't going to be ready to go, especially in December.
You're counting him out?
Yes. He needs. If I was in his camp, I would say, OBJ, sit this year out. You'll be good to go next year. Because if he goes out there and he hurts his knee for a third time, what's his career? It's over. So at this point, the Cowboys should have kept Cooper. But, if they had a crystal ball, they would have. But they got a fifth-round pick for him, which really doesn't equate to much. Maybe a 2-3 year player on your roster if you have a fifth-round pick.
Yeah.
So they needed a guy like that, especially if they're going to try and make a playoff run. They need the weaponry. They do not have it. They don't have enough because with attrition, there's going to be somebody that goes down. You don't know who it's going to be, but they're going to lose somebody, hopefully not in the receiving room.
They've already had the attrition. I mean, they started the season without Michael Gallup, who's back. They started the season without James Washington, who's coming back. Tyron Smith is, they're going to get healthier. I mean, I know they were talking to teams about possible receivers, but it's just not like the Brandon Cooks situation. Like, you're going to take on $18 million and guaranteed money next year and also give up draft picks. It's not just as simple as we get into trade and this is going to make us a Super Bowl team. I mean, it's got to make sense. And by the way, They made a trade.
Yeah.
Like they got a defensive tackle, a run-stuffing defensive tackle. The Giants and the Eagles are two of the top 5 run-heaviest teams in the league, and they play in the Cowboys division. It's a pretty smart trade. That's probably going to help them.
So the answer to the question on the screen could be yes, they might regret making a marquee trade at the deadline, while at the same time it could be true that the Cowboys, as currently constituted, are very much good enough to make it to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. If you look, they are on a short list of teams. If Dak continues to progress, the difference in Dak Prescott from his first week back after the thumb to the second week back was marked. Now, obviously, maybe the defense they were playing had something to do with that. But as C.D. Lamb gets a little more comfortable in his role, Gallup works his way back, Dalton Schultz is back and healthy, the 2 running back attack, I do not believe that they don't have enough offensively to get it done.
But here's the issue. Everybody else is stacking the deck. We just talked about Bradley Chubb.
It's true.
Listen, it's okay to feel like you have enough. Make sure you have enough, because you look at Buffalo stacking the deck. You look at Philadelphia stacking the deck. Like, you look at the teams that are going all in. Minnesota stacking the deck.
San Francisco,
so you better make for
McCaffrey.
damn sure you got enough, and make sure you have a little extra, because we watched the champions last year, thought they had enough, and how important was that Odell Beckham pickup when Jefferson went down?
That's exactly right. It went from being a luxury to being a necessity in a hurry.
I love when you use those big words.
See where it all winds up. As we continue, no more time to talk for Tampa Tom.
The player that he was, but also not ain't trying to kiss and make up with Cam Akers. Too little, too late. Full dogs don't eat barbecue chicken for the Rams.
See if Tom Brady can gain his revenge. Hey, Dominic Foxworth, give me a bold prediction.
I got P.J. Walker outplaying Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow obviously is going to struggle without Jamar Chase. And it seems like the Panthers, they have a really talented defense that seems to have a new reason to play. P.J. Walker also has been playing pretty well lately, and he's going up against a Bengals defense that has 4 cornerbacks on an injury report. Only one of them, Eli Apple, practiced yesterday, and he has a hamstring injury. So I got P.J. Walker outplaying Joe Burrow.
I like it. Graziano, finish it up.
A losing streak ends in Detroit on Sunday, but it's not the one you think. The Detroit Lions are going to beat the Green Bay Packers, and then their losing streak and continue Green Bay's, because honestly, I don't know that Green Bay's defense is built to stop the Lions' offense, and I don't know if Green Bay's offense right now can outscore the Lions' offense when it's on.
Here's what I'm envisioning. That the people in Green Bay right now, Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur and everybody are watching, and they're saying, oh, my goodness, we've lost Graziano. Like he's been the guy on the Packers train for as long as I've known.
I thought they were going to be good. So did they, by the way.
If we've lost Dan, all hope is gone. The Packers did not make any moves before the trade deadline this week. Aaron Rodgers was asked about that yesterday.
Obviously, the compensation or whatever players that we were going after, it just didn't make sense. So I trust Brian, and we had some good conversations. Know that we were, in on some things, and it obviously just didn't pan out. That just sends a message to us that we got to, play with the guys we got and win with the guys we got.
All right, so look, and Graziano's given you his prediction and everything else, and I mean, they're playing the Lions, and I get that the Lions can outscore people, but this is, if not now, then when? If you don't win this game, then what possibility is there? If they don't win this weekend, Nico, is their season over?
I said their season was over 2 weeks ago.
You did.
I said that their season was over if they lost at home to the Jets.
You did.
And they lost at home to the Jets. So guess what? Yes, it's over. Their season's over. Done. Finito.
Do you agree with that part? Is it finito?
I believe so. I mean, really, this is a team that was 13-3, 2 years in a row, MVP back-to-back. The expectations isn't just to get into the tournament. If they struggle to get in the tournament, they really can't do any real damage. I don't understand how this defense got so bad. We had high hopes for this defense, thinking that Aaron Rodgers could win a different way, running the football and leaning on a strong defense. That defense isn't strong. The run game is good, but they can't, protect Aaron Rodgers. They punted on this season, in the draft when they decided to go defensive instead of moving up trying to get an elite receiver. It was too little, too late trying to get one in the trade deadline.
Yeah, and I mean, they did draft Christian Watson and Romeo
That's not
Dobbs,
a real
but
guy.
later, I understand.
He's not a real guy.
There were big.
He doesn't exist. It's imagination.
But they weren't necessarily the difference makers that you're suggesting that they needed in the absence of Devontae Adams. I understand, and it has worked out that way. But you're talking about still making the playoffs. If they don't beat the Lions, no disrespect to Detroit, I get they play hard. If you don't beat the Lions, who are you beating? How are you even sneaking into the playoffs?
I mean, right now, the last wild card spot in the NFC is a 4-4 tie between the 49ers and Washington. Like, it's not out of reach mathematically, even if they lose this game. The problem is, like, they have to play better. Like the year Rodgers won the Super Bowl, they started out slow, they were injured, they got hot and healthy at the right time, and so that's their path back in if there is one. But you can't watch them play right now and think that they're capable of that. They've got to show you a lot more on both sides of the ball than they've shown so far.
They do. Nick, let's come to you, and I grant that this is sort of an odd place for me to go for the most optimistic take I could ever imagine, because you're not usually one who is prone to that. Is there any world in which they do that? Do you see any world in which all of a sudden this Green Bay defense looks like we expected it to? These young receivers.